Hey friends, I actually have to confess that I was mistaken slightly in a video that I released last week about the GPU that we're actually giving away in collaboration with Asetek. This is an RTX 2080 Super. And I mentioned in that video, as does Asetek, that this is the world's first GPU with a built-in PCI Express radiator card, which is quite cool. Obviously, it allows for better liquid cooling in certain OEM scenarios where you don't necessarily have all of the airflow that you might need in order to cool your card. And I posited that this was the first, and so does Asetek. And you know, I'm not going to take that away from them, but several of you commented in that video that you've seen something like this before. And I needed to find out what that was. And boy howdy, I sure did. There was a card that had a radiator setup that you could slot into the PCI Express mount. However, it's slightly different. So, you know, I'm not going to take anything away from Asetek. And by the way, in case you want to win the RTX 2080 Super, you can do so at the link in the video description because we are still giving away. You can still enter into the giveaway on this. But turns out that back in the wee old age of 2006, there was a little known card as the ATI Radeon X1950 XTX, as you can see here on the screen. But you look at that and you say, oh, that's just an air-cooled card. Well, my friends, that's not where it stopped. The X1950 XTX is the Crossfire version of the X1900. This was one of the fastest cards at the time. I believe the X1900 claimed the top spot at some point against NVIDIA. Anyways, there was a version released by Sapphire known as the Sapphire Toxic Radeon X1950 XTX, which is obviously a whole slew of words. But as you can see here, there's a radiator card attached to this liquid-cooled version of the Sapphire Toxic. And you can see here that it indeed is a liquid-cooled card with the radiator card that has a plastic connection that goes into the additional PCI Express slot. This actually looks like the radiator and fan is only a single slot, whereas the Asetek one that I'm looking at is a dual slot one. So this is kind of neat. I actually really love the idea of this. So it's a Crossfire card that's liquid cooled and it's all contained so that you can just put it in the PCI Express slot. But according to reviews, it wasn't that good. You got apparently only 4,500, or you only got 45 megahertz extra over the regular 1950 XTXs, and it was just about 80 pounds more, or $80 roughly in that price point. So it was really ridiculously fast for the day. It's a DX10 card, has so much going on, and I absolutely want one. Like, obviously I found out, hey, this 2080 Super, really cool technology. I've loved it since I've heard Asetek announce this in collaboration with Alienware. I love this idea. I want this Sapphire Toxic Radeon XTX. Unfortunately, what I found out is that they're nowhere. I can't find a single one. I actually couldn't, number one, find that many reviews on it. It turns out, at least from my perspective, what I can see was that there were a few that were seeded to reviewers, but I'm not sure if this saw a major commercial launch. Obviously, this was a very high-end card at the time, costing in the neighborhood of $350 to $400. So the amount of people that would have been buying it back then was probably few and far between. It was also a very niche concept back then. So I'm not sure that there's a ton of volume of these cards out there for me to be able to get my hands on one, but from my just perusing of eBay or various other selling sites, as you can see here, there's just none of them on sale anywhere. And I've checked YouTube. Apparently, I found one YouTuber who posted a video back in 2017 of the one that he got. And one of the intriguing things about this and how it's slightly different than the Asetek one is that in order to power the radiator pump card, you actually had to connect it to Molex. It wasn't just strictly powered off of the pump that was included on the GPU socket. There was a Molex connection there as well. Which, regardless, I think this thing is freaking amazing, and I guess I'm making this video, number one, to admit that I was slightly mistaken. There clearly was something released over a decade ago that was very similar to what Asetek has here, at least in concept. And number two, I want to make the pitch and plea out there that if anybody has this card, or anybody knows of somebody who has this card, please contact me. I would love to buy it. I would love to take it off your hands. I would love to just have this as a piece of tech here for our channel and just kind of keep it in a closet somewhere because, I mean, it's a DX10 card. Can't really play games very well anymore. But regardless, I love it. I love this tech. I love that I was wrong about something like this not existing before, and I would love to get my hands on one of the Sapphire X1950 XTX Toxics. So in case you can do that, my email address is attached to this channel, or in case you want to just send it to me out of your kind heart, we have our P.O. Box down below in the video description. P.O. Box 5697, Gainesville, Florida 32627. It would be great for Fan Mail Friday. We unbox your fan mail every Friday over on our Hot News live streams. You can check out twitch.tv/UFDisciple. Anyways, just a cool little piece of tech that I wasn't aware that existed, and now I am, and now I want it. And if you guys could help with me getting one, because I can't find it anywhere, that would be very much appreciated. So hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, get subscribed, stay up to date on all of our tech related content. Thank you so much for sticking with us with the transition to Brainus. This is our second channel. I'm going to be posting a lot more content on here going forward. As you could probably have tell, we've ramped up our second channel content, and yes, Sapphire Toxic Radeon X1950 XTX.